Hello and welcome back to the Canaries Chat podcast. My name's Luke, and as always, I'm here with my co-host Chris. We'll be talking all things Norwich City, and today's topic will be our most recent away game against Stoke. Chris, first of all, how are you, and what are your initial reactions slash thoughts on the game on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate. Thank you for asking. Hope you're all good as well. Initial thoughts were slightly disappointed not to take all 3 points, but I think it probably just emphasised how important Nunes and Gunn are to our kind of style of play. But that being said, I don't think it was terrible. I think there's been a lot of kind of not meltdowns, but a lot of discussions on public forums and stuff like that. And I think most of us maybe thought that we're beating teams by 4 goals every week going forward from now on. It's also worth remembering that obviously Pilash was our head coach and actually knows exactly how we play, and would be able to then build that into his approach to the game. So, all in all, I think a draw away from home is never too much of a bad result.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you'll always take a point away from home. I'll be honest. I feel like we're very lucky to come away with a point. They were by far the better team that second half, and probably they're saying exactly the same thing about us. Is they're probably gutted that they didn't come away with 3 points as well. I thought first half we were absolutely brilliant. If I'm honest, we should have probably put the game to bed. But Johansson, their keeper, made some unbelievable saves to keep
Mm,
him in that game. And they're the reason that they probably come away with that point today. Like you said, Stoke as a team are on the up at the moment. They're doing really, really well. And I think going there under new management, so early doors was going to be a tough ask, especially with their manager being part of our staff, for and being at the club for a couple of years. So it was definitely going to be a hard ask, I think, getting the win there, especially straight after international break. But I think we take the point and we move on. We're still undefeated in a good few games. Um, at spells we were good yesterday, missing a few of our key players, but I think Nunes came off. We didn't have Gunn in the team as well. I think we done well to get that point yesterday.
yeah, yeah. I think a point away from home, if your home form's very good, a point away from home isn't too bad. It's when your home form is a little bit slippery, um, that then you want those points away from home to be wins. We're fortunate, obviously, that we're potentially going to go a year without losing at home. So yeah, I don't think a point's too bad. Just a couple of points I wanted to raise. I thought Cernak getting his first goal is hopefully going to be monumental for him. But is Slimani? I thought he had a very tidy game yet again, and I think he's now got a real big opportunity if Nunes is out to really show
Yeah.
what exactly he can do. But I think at 1.4 million, or I think that's around about where it's rumoured at. I think if he carries on the performances that he's doing at the moment, that's a steal, don't you?
Yeah, very, very, very good player. I think he controlled the game really well yesterday. And I think, he did start in that kind of centre attacking midfield position, but then had to kind of drop into that kind of deeper role when Nunes did come off, and he's still done a really good job then as well. So yeah, I think Thorpe knows him, right, and he knows how to get the most out of him. From previously being with him, and I think all that he needed was some game time, and I don't think he really got that at Sheffield United. Um, So yeah, really, really pleased. But my man of the match was Kenny McLean. I thought he was absolutely unbelievable
That's
yesterday. He just controlled the
interesting you
game.
say that. Interesting.
Why's that?
See, because I thought he had a very good game. I thought, once again, a typical Kenny performance, looked to dictate the play, especially when we are maybe looking like we are lacking a little bit of something. Um, he was kind of putting his foot on the ball, playing it out wide. I thought when we started to get a few opportunities in the second half, they were coming from McLean and his kind of swooping left foot that he has. But I saw a couple of things on X saying like another disaster class, another
What?
poor performance. Yeah, I saw um,
No, no.
someone replied to Chris Reeve, I believe it was, um, and Chris Reeve fairly strongly disagreed with them,
Yeah.
basically saying that it was another poor performance. I'm just trying to see if I can see it here, but yeah, I thought that was wild seeing that.
I don't know who the individual is, and obviously don't. But if you genuinely think that, I don't think you've got a very good footballing brain and know, you know, a
The
lot about
exact the
performances
exact
because he,
words were McLean normal poor performance.
no, he was probably our best player. I'd say, just really, really calm, hold on the ball, set the tempo for a lot of that game. I don't think he rarely lost the ball. Um, yeah, I don't know what the game they were watching, but that definitely was not the case.
No, I thought he
Strange.
had a
It's but on that. It's strange. What. You're entitled to your own opinion, right? And if you genuinely think that, fair enough. I'll keep my opinion to myself. But it's strange
well, you
that
don't
people
keep it
view
to
football
yourself.
different, isn't it? No, but
You
it's
do a whole
strange.
podcast of it.
It's strange that people view like players in different ways.
Well,
Because
we'll get to that in a minute because we did have a disagreement. But yeah, I thought McLean. It was a typical McLean performance. I thought in regards to just being tidy with the ball,
yeah,
making things tick over, and then getting out to those positions to really force some issues. So yeah,
well, if we'd won that game, right, 2-3-1, everyone's views would have been a lot different on him.
yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I know we've been saying it for a little while, but obviously Cernak got his goal um, this
Yeah.
week. We've both been saying that we believe that he needs a goal to really kind of push on to the next level. Um, so I'm very excited to see
Yeah.
what's coming around the corner for him now because I think he's got I think he's got bucket loads of ability, um, and I think most people would agree with that. Um, but it's really now just seeing how he really pushes on going forward. I think he's still going to be first choice. I was quite interested that Gordon didn't get on this this week, and I think if anyone was going to push Cernak for a start, it would have been Gordon. Um, so I was interested with that. But what were your views on the finish as someone that was there watching it? What were your views on it all?
Yeah. Good finish. At the end of the day, I've always rated him. I think you can definitely see that there's a player there. Um, you know, I just think a lot of people think how someone does on a match day is purely by if they score, or if they assist, or if they get a goal line clearance. That's not how football is. I think what he does off the ball, the runs he makes, the passes that he plays are really, really good. He's such an intelligent football player,
That's what I was going
and
to say.
he's still quite young as well. We've definitely got a player there for the future, and in the moment now, may I say, said he's always starting right wing. He's always, well, it looks like he's going to be our starter there. So, I think him getting the game time now at this age is just a really positive sign for us. Um, and I hope that he goes on to do really, really well because, as you can tell, he's a very good football player.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. I really hope he kind of uses this to kick on. I know in the past I've given him a couple of harsh ratings that we've kind of disagreed with, but it was never a case of there wasn't a player there, and I'm just happy that get first goal. That's now out of his mind. I don't think we probably appreciate just how much of a burden that can maybe be, especially on
Hmm.
youngsters who have come over with a big price tag. There's
Yeah,
naturally going to be that weight on your shoulders of, right, okay, got to prove a point here now. Like, I've really got to kick on,
yeah,
and that doesn't always happen instantly. And Thorpe's shown pure trust in him and gone, actually, go for it. This is on you. Go and show me what you can do. I'm going to trust you. And he's rewarded that trust. So, yeah, I think that'll be a really interesting and hopefully massively positive player development trajectory that we'll see with Cernat. And yeah, fingers crossed that's the first of many. But
yeah, it will be.
I've kind of alluded to it around player ratings. Obviously, we did our player rating. Well, I did the player ratings this week. Um,
Yeah, make that clear.
yeah, this was on me. I said
Chris
in
done the
I,
player
I said
ratings,
in the
not
tweet
me.
that Luke was at the game and driving home, and these may get revised. So
Yeah,
the everyone seems to have agreed basically, apart from one player, which was George Long. So the
yeah,
perspective that I had, which I clarified in other tweets, was I actually think he was having a pretty solid game. So I think he was on for a 6 or a 7. But from my point of view, and I didn't see the replays because you're saying there was a potential deflection, I thought he should be saving that, and that's the reason why I knocked a couple of points off. Wasn't anything to do with his overall performance, but I think if you have an error leading to a goal, there should be points deducted off. On that point, people have also said Doyle should be closing it down and Doyle should have had a point or two knocked off. Take that on board. Again, not seen the replays, just done it once I'd got home after watching the football. Those were my initial reactions. Um, the other ones we had were Doyle at 7, Cordoba at 7, Duffy at 6, just really for his distribution, in my opinion. Fisher 7, Nunes 8, McLean and Slimani 7, Cernat 7, Sarge I had down as a 6, but that was just because he was quiet and Stoke nullified him well. He was still putting in the hard yards. And same with Sainz. I think they dealt with Sainz well, but he was still doing the hard yards for us. What are your thoughts on that? I know you disagree with the George Long one, but from
yeah.
your
I think
perspective,
you've been very harsh on Long there. I thought, I do feel sorry for Long. It is always gonna now be hard for him stepping up in Gunn's shadow, just because of this perception everyone has around him about moles in his gloves and stuff like that. And pre-season may have not gone well as he liked, but he's still not a bad keeper. And I thought he'd done really, really well at the weekend. To be fair, I don't think he done much wrong. In all honesty, there's an argument that you said he should be saving it, but you know, should Sargent be scoring that goal? Should Cernat be scoring that goal? You know, you got
I think
you
it
can't
comes
just
with the
say
I think it comes with the territory that with a goalkeeper, one, your defence should be helping you out as much as possible. And as I said, Doyle, by the sounds of it, should have gotten out quicker. So that is on Doyle, and there was a potential slight deflection off Doyle. But I think equally with goalkeeper, because you're that last line of defence, any small error can lead into a bigger error or a bigger impact on the game.
yeah,
As
I
you
don't
said,
think that's fair.
I, but that's just the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, that is just the nature of the
It's
beast.
not. It's not though.
It
It's
is when
not
you're a
because
goalkeeper, though.
It's not because Sargent, for example, against Leeds when he missed that 1-on-1 where he chipped, you know that probably doesn't take into consideration at all, and so every player has a part to play, and goalkeepers, like you probably say, get criticised the most because of that last line of defence. But overall, he had a really good game. He came out well at points. He done well in the corners. He was quite good with his feet at the weekend. I just he had a good game. That was a good shot as well. It was a decent shot. Um, you know, and Gunn's probably had a few like that in his career, which have, been savable. But that's just football. I think he's probably like a 7 or a 8, to be fair. And a lot I saw on X Day that like the so score ratings or whatever, he was the highest one out of our whole team.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think I saw that tweet as well. I think he got like a 7.5
Yeah,
on that,
and
and I think
I
that
don't
is
think them scores just come out of nowhere, do they?
no. But if you do, I still just think it's the whether right or wrong. I think if you do, in my opinion, from what I originally saw, have an error, it does just unfortunately knock a couple of points off.
But
I
what's
don't
the
think
error
he
though?
had them.
What is the error?
He should be saving that. It was poor positioning. If there's no deflection, he should have been saving it.
That's not an error though, is it?
Yeah, well, it is because
He
there's an error in his
he hasn't
positioning.
messed up. He just didn't save it. That's not an error leading to anything. He hasn't made an error.
Well, his error is the positioning.
But
He's in the
there's nothing wrong with the positioning, I don't think.
he was too far off his line.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the positioning.
He was too far off. He should be saving that. If he was a yard further back a yard further back off his line, a yard further back towards his line, should I say?
Yeah, but
He should be getting it.
no keepers just sit on the line.
No, no,
That's
I'm not saying sat on the line, but he was too far out.
I don't.
To
I think his positioning was fine. To be fair,
I think if
genuinely.
I genuinely think if Angus Gunn made that mistake, people would be onto Angus potentially even more than they're getting onto George Long, because I think there's a perception now of people using George Long as a scapegoat, and people don't want to do that. As I said, I think he had a very good game away from that, and he would have probably had a 6 or 7, and then in my opinion, that's why it dropped, and that's what I said on X. I don't think it's a case of a
There's always an
bandwagon that we're trying
scapegoat
to.
every game, isn't there? That's a thing.
Yeah,
Like
but it's not a case of it's a bandwagon I'm trying to jump on, because we've discussed it previously on the pod that I think the reaction to the contract was ridiculous. I don't know why people would react to a contract in that way. And it's not that I don't think he's a capable number two for us. I think he plays a very pivotal role in what we need at the club. And I think, I don't know if it was the last pod or the pod before, that actually to find a very decent number two who's willing to just sit on the bench, you're never going to find that. You need a good number two who's happy to be a number two and is willing to let one Angus start, but also develop the youngsters, and then also allows us to send the youngsters out on loan. And that's why I think he plays a pivotal role in the club. I just think, in my opinion, it was just an unfortunate moment, and I hope when Preston comes around, if Gunn's not fit, if he has another relative performance like that, I think we'll be absolutely fine.
yeah. I'm looking back at the goal now. I really don't think he's done much wrong. Genuinely, I don't think
No,
he's done much wrong there at all.
no,
It was a good strike. It bends away from him.
but it
It was
bends into the middle of the goal. It's the middle of the goal, the finish.
I think it's I don't think he's done much wrong. In all honesty, I
I
think
just
it's a
think
good finish.
from previous experiences, I think if the keeper's beaten middle of the goal, there's gonna inevitably be questions asked. But that was just my opinion on it all. And again, I hope he does very well against Preston. I still think he's a more than capable number two. I think he's a very decent bloke, and yeah, I just hope he manages to have a very solid game midweek because I don't know if Gunn's going to be back. I think it was just that he wasn't going to be fit for Stoke, wasn't it? I don't think
Essentially,
they said. I don't think they said around if he'd be fit for Preston, but obviously we've now got the Nunes worry as well, so we don't know how
yeah, they've
much
said that
he's gonna.
he's not going to be in for Preston for sure.
No, I saw
I
that
think
they
they've
were going
said.
to send him for scans, weren't they? And then that takes 24 to 48 hours. So,
Yeah, I I think
what
it's
what would be your play for Preston now?
I just think what happened when Nunes came off. I think you put Slimani and McLean in a deep, and you play Shortau in the cam position, and you have Cernat, Signs, and Sargent.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's what I'd do probably. Um, Potentially he could give Force a little bit of a run out.
What are your?
Um,
This was another point. What are your opinions on Force at the moment? Because again, I saw some wild take. I saw one person saying um, that Tony Springett was getting a lot more abuse than what Forson is, and Tony Springett was like 10 times better than what Forson is. I just don't get all these
mm,
random compar. Like, I think you got to remember, he's a young kid. He's come over to a completely different country, completely different league. It'll be a completely different tempo and physicality. He's just got to give him
yeah,
time to
I
settle in.
think I think being a Norwich player is absolutely brutal because unfortunately, there's a minority of football fans that support Norwich, which will always try and find problems with players, and they'll always look at the bad rather than the good. Unless you're someone that scores each week, or puts a 7, 8 out of 10 each week, everyone looks at the negatives, and I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think Forson's had a good start, to his Norwich career. I think what people got to realise is the Championship is a brutal league, and we're playing in this tough, brutal, physical league and trying to do it with a team of youngsters and youth. And I think what people got to realise is we're doing extremely well at the moment with the players that we've got. Considering, we're talking about this kind of being a reset season for us, and a season where we build, we're probably overachieving at the moment with the players we've got. The players that were brought in, and the players that we've got are ones for the future that we want to build. And I think the slack that a lot of them get at the moment is just uncalled for. Forson, there's 100% a football player in him. He's very, very
yeah,
good. I think he showed glimpses of that in his first couple games. I think the own goal at Swansea, and he didn't have the best of games that day. I think that may have knocked his confidence a little bit. I think unfortunately he did get dropped after that. But there's a player there. He'll learn from that. We've still got another 36 games this season.
yeah,
So Shortau, another player, unbelievable for his age. He's really, really good. Um, will we see the full potential of him yet? No, we probably won't. But is there a player? Yes. Cernats, young. Is there a player there? 100%. Are we seeing the full potential? Not right now, but will we? Yes, for sure. The list goes on. It goes on and on and on. Um, I just think Norwich fans are just so brutal, and there's just no need for it. There's just no need. It's just getting it winds me up a little bit in all honesty because it's just getting a little bit silly. These are young lads that are looking to prove themselves. I think the last thing they need is stupid little sly comments like that on social media, basically calling them shite from some guy that probably has only ever played Football Manager 3 times in his life and thinks he's Pep Guardiola. It's just silly. It's just really, really silly.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
I just don't understand it.
I think there's
I really don't get it.
this may now seem horrifically ironic after the conversation we had about George Long, but I think I was kind of articulated my point around that it's not a scapegoat thing, it's just like a one off performance. I think that's what's got to kind of stay in people's mind. People are going to have bad games. That's fine. Doesn't overly matter. But we've got to buy into this whole positive attitude around the club. And I'm not saying be a happy clapper and everything always has to be kind of sunny and roses and stuff like that. But we're building something. We've got impressionable young players that don't want to be getting absolutely battered from the terraces every single time they do a pass wrong and things like that. I
Exactly.
think we've really got to start looking at ourselves as fans as well. Be like, as I said, we don't need to be happy clappers, and people will have bad games. That is fine. That happens. But you've still got to kind of nearly dust it off. Next game, you go into it supporting everyone on that pitch 100%. And there's no player on that pitch that I won't back to have a good performance because
100%.
otherwise you're just what's the point of turning up? Like, if you
Exactly.
really think George Long being in goal means that we've already lost the game, there's no point watching the game then. Like,
Hmm.
what's the point of watching it? There is none. You've got to back everyone on the pitch to really start performing, and if they have a bad game, so be it. Forget about it. Go again. It's a long season with, as you said, I think we're exceeding expectations by a fair way now. So the odd bad performance is fine. Just we just
I
need
think that's
to.
part of the issue. I think part of the issue is the 4-0 or 4-1 against Hull, the 4-1 against Watford, the 3-2 against Derby. We've done so well in them games. There's this expectation now that we've got to be beating teams 3-2-3 each week, like you mentioned
Yeah,
earlier. And I think people just need to kind of get back to
calm it down.
reality and realize it's a marathon, not a sprint, and we don't unfortunately win the league by the 3 games that we had, where we done really really well. We're gonna lose games. We'll probably
Yeah,
lose at Carrow Road this season to end this infamous long streak of games that were never lost. But
yeah,
that's football at the end of the day. And I think it's very, very clear we've got to buy into this project, like we keep going on about, is buying into this style and buying into the youth, and not doing that and just going on the defensive every couple passes they don't do right is ridiculous. There's a lot of pressure on these lads as well. You got to think, you know, I, Shortall. I'll just use him for example. He's 18 years of age.
yeah.
Like, if you deep that for a sec, that's absolutely
It's
insane.
crazy. Yeah,
He's 18 years of age.
and I think, as you said, there's pressure because at the end of the day, like this is we're. I was gonna say big club, not in big as in regards to like Premier League big, but in general we are a big club, especially in the Championship. But we've got Premier League history as well. Like we're not just someone that's trying to get there for the first time and stuff like that. And we've got to take that into account. Like as you said,
Hmm.
we've got some young guys that it's just going to be their first time. It's their first time in England as well. It's
Exactly.
like we need.
He Shortall again. He's living alone in a country that he's never been before at the age of 18.
Yeah,
playing
exactly.
for this club that he needs to buy into. He's got a bit of, I'll be honest, he has got a bit of weight on his shoulders because he's meant to be quite a highly rated prospect.
From,
You know,
yeah, yeah, that's fine.
from where he's from, but that's what I mean. Look, he's 18 years of age. I guarantee half the listeners here were still living with their parents at 18. I know I
Yeah,
was, and
yeah,
I was
no, I
still
agree.
having my my washing done for me, dinner cooked for me, right? And this is an 18-year-old lad that has got a little bit of pressure because of the tag that comes with him moving across to a country at the age of 18 years of age. I think the last thing he needs is Paul bloody having to go at him on Twitter, call him shit because he couldn't, do one pass in proportion to the eight that he done well. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
just silly. It is just so silly. Cernats as well is the same. He's pretty young. They just don't need that.
no,
It's
no, I
ridiculous.
agree. I agree, and I think
It is
there's
so silly.
there's a difference as well. I don't mind people getting carried away because that's part of football. That's why it's
That's fine.
football. But there's getting carried away, and then there's correct expectations. You can get carried away, and I mean, I do it every single week. I say that we're going to win 3-0. Like, that's fine. You can get carried away. You can expect. You can't then be like genuinely thinking you're going to batter everyone 3-0 because
Well,
that's
you
not.
can think you can think that. There's nothing wrong with thinking that.
Or
That is
voice
part of getting
your
carried away.
discontent when when we're not doing that. Like, you've got to be
Well, no, it's
realistic.
not that. It's just I think you're okay. You're okay to get carried away, right? And if you genuinely think we should be beating teams 3-4-0, again, that's fine. But you then can't start to get arsey when it then doesn't go that way. Think
Yeah,
that's the difference. It's you can't have this expectation and then get absolutely rattled that then hasn't happened because that's all part of getting carried away. It's like something that you'd like to happen, and great if it does. If it doesn't, then people just go into meltdown mode, and that I think we spoke about it before with Norwich. Is there's a lot of the fan base that are just like so reactive to things, and
agreed.
certain schools, and it just it is just a bit silly, and I don't think we got too carried away um, about the Stoke result, but I think there were some overreactions in there, which I don't think were very warranted at all.
Yeah,
I, you know, I think they're a good team. They done well. They definitely contained us well. They probably felt like they could have won that game, and rightly so. They were a better team in the second half. But I think we done well to get that point, and I think we should be pleased.
yeah, no, 100% agree. 100% agree. I think have that perspective, as you said. They're a well-drilled team. Like, I think they're going to be a team that's only going to go in one direction as well. Like, they
Yeah,
they're on an upward trajectory, and yeah, I think having someone that knew the club inside out as well um, would have definitely played in their favour. But it is what it is. We've
hmm
got to draw a line under it, learn from our errors, and see what happens in the Preston game. What are your
definitely, mate.
thoughts around Preston? So you're going with a
Uh,
nearly unchanged lineup. What do you reckon it will
I
end up
think
being?
it's going to be. I think it's going to be a very difficult game. Again, Preston. I'm not sure if you've seen are on that upwards trajectory, as you say.
Yeah,
They started off really, really poorly, but they're climbing up the table nicely. Um, I think they're only like 3 points or 4 points below us. Yeah, they're 4 points below us. they're 15th on 12, and if you look at their last kind of five games, win, draw, win, loss, draw. So they've only lost one out of the last five. Um, they're a team that are definitely on the up. And I think they got is it Heckenbottom's there? Yeah, Heckenbottom's their manager.
Yeah,
Obviously went up with Sheffield United, doesn't he knows the Championship well. I think going up north on a Tuesday night is always going to be a difficult ask, isn't it?
yeah,
But
no,
yeah, I don't know. I think I'll be honest. I think it'll probably be a really boring draw. I can't
I'd,
really
I'd,
see
I'd,
many goals.
I'd take a draw away from home on a
Yeah.
Tuesday night against Preston. I think the annoying thing is that we actually recorded a video, didn't we, at the um, start of the season about league predictions, and you made a prediction that they'd get rid of their manager within a couple of games, and
Mm,
it's like a little crystal ball, wasn't it? All came true, and you said you'd pick up a bit of form once he'd gone, and here they are. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really tricky game. Personally, maybe not the right mindset to have, but yeah, I'd walk away with a draw, go away happy. Hopefully, then get a win against Middlesbrough at home. As I said,
yeah.
draws away are fine as long as you're getting the points at home. So there is going to be a responsibility now to make sure that we are doing that. If we're not, then there's a bigger issue on the horizon. But there's no
Yeah.
signs that that won't be the case. So
No, I think everyone says in football, you'll always take a draw away from home. You should
yeah,
always be winning them home ones.
yeah,
Um, and Preston will be a difficult game. I'm excited to see how he set up. Obviously, like we said, Nunez is probably going to be quite a big miss, unfortunately. But he, yeah, I think we've got more than enough ability there to now, kind of cover that position. But I think that's what's so refreshing about this Norwich side at the moment is I think if this happened last year, for example, we'd probably be a little bit panicky. But it's nice knowing and having that reassurance that we've got that ability to come off the bench, and we've got that ability to replace players where needed if they do get injured. Um, and yeah, it's gonna be a difficult game. I'll be honest, I'm really not sure how it will go.
yeah.
I've got no idea. It could go either way. But I'm gonna go for an old boring draw.
Do you reckon 1-1, 0-0, 2-2?
I think it'll be 1-1. Um,
Yeah,
I'm looking at their team now. The only player I really know, obviously Robbie
Robbie
Brady.
Brady. Yeah.
In there they've got Will Keane. He's out injured.
Cool. Wow.
Um, I know. Think I know Hughes, Andrew Hughes. Think he's played for them for quite a while, and Story at the back as well. Um, Other than that, I don't really know a lot of their players. Frederick Woodman as well in goal. They've got, I
Oh
know
yeah.
him. But yeah, it's going to be tough. But Chris, one thing I did want to speak about with you is the potential signing of Jack Wilshere.
Yes. Or
What
well,
do you?
if via Fabrizio Romano, apparently he's replacing Thorup and becoming the head coach, if you were to believe
Yeah, I think there's a little bit harsh on Thorough. I thought, you know, he done
He's doing
well,
all right.
but if that's the direction Napa wants to go in, then you know, we'll buy
We'll
into the
back him.
project. Yeah,
We'll
like
back him.
we've been saying.
Um,
But no, I think as so I've got a few people I know that are um, and he's apparently, in their words, been cooking with the under 18s there. Um, so, well, that's always a positive sign for one.
yeah,
Um, but it, unfortunately, like, don't get me wrong, he's going to be good. I think Norwich fans get a bit carried away with the name
yeah.
rather than
We
the
love a
the
name,
person. We love a
believable.
big name coming in. I think people, you know, see Jack Wilshere and think, "Oh my God, you know, this is absolutely unbelievable." I think he was even being talked about actually taking the manager role when all that was happening, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Um, I think that was a possibility that Napa was looking at. But obviously, well, I don't know. It seemed like it was always, but I know he was definitely like in the betting rounds, wasn't he? And I
yeah,
think there were a few reports at the time. But yeah, apparently it's done really, really well with the under 18s. Obviously, we are looking for that, you know, first team coach within the squad. Um, I think obviously he knows Napa, and I'm sure his kind of contacts with Arsenal did probably support with this move. If it again, nothing's been confirmed yet, but it's looking 95% that he is going to be heading this way. I think the reason why is obviously the connections, but that again, that kind of system and that project with the youth, I think, is probably what saw that deal over the line. What do you think?
yeah. I think. Well, completely agree with everything you've just said, but yeah, I think it could be a very shrewd bit of business because, as you say, I've spoken to a few Arsenal fans and they've been like, oh, like actually a little bit gutted that he's leaving because I think they probably saw him as someone that would eventually join the backroom staff potentially for the first team. I think yeah, under 18s he's been doing really well with. Um, I just think it's just an exciting time, isn't it? And again, we do get carried away with big name, but we're talking
But
Jack
do,
Wilshere, we're talking England international, talking scoring the best ever Premier League goal against us.
do you
That's
know?
gonna come up, by the
Do
way,
you know?
so
Do you
many
know what's
times.
really good about this move as well is the fact that this is probably such a good move for his progression as well. You know, I'm pretty sure he's done his coaching badges, and I'm pretty sure he aspires to be a manager in the future. And you know, you look at the name's lost me. The Stoke manager that we just lost. Sorry,
Pilash.
Pilash, yeah, that's one. You know, he aspired to probably be a manager like he is now, and he you know he's got that experience from the role that he had with us and previous teams, and I feel like this is exactly the same step that Wilshire's taken. You know, this will only kind of help him with that kind of career aspiration of being a manager. And the
Agreed.
experience that he gets from this is only gonna, you know, help him build towards that end goal. I think this probably could have come at a more perfect time for him, to be honest. And no offense to any kind of, you know, lower league teams, but I think he probably would be, you know, favour this experience and this project over kind of immediately taking like a League One, League Two job, if that makes sense. I
Yeah,
think he'd probably find something like this more beneficial, kind of ease his way in.
I think the Ben Napper link is of for obviously reasons it's huge, but I think
Yeah,
because of that prior connection, like why wouldn't he buy into it? He knows what's coming, um, and as you said, it's just a prime opportunity to get your head down, get yourself into a first team setup, um, and as you said. Pilash has managed to get something out of it. Why can't he? There's no reason why he can't. Give it a couple of years.
Well, this is a thing though. Like I know we said Pilash has got it, but it just seems the way that football is going at the moment.
Yeah,
You look at
Bereska.
Beresco, you look at McKenna, you look at Carrick. You look at a lot of these managers these days. They are now typically, the first teams. Arteta was, Pep's second hand man before he got the
Yeah,
Arsenal job.
yeah, no, you're spot on.
So I think this is the way that football and the direction that football is going in at the moment. And I think, Wilshire's probably identified that and think, knows this will probably be a really good move for him. So, yeah, but I think what's I don't know. I don't know if this is just what I was thinking, and it just made me think like because I think Man U have done it. I'm pretty sure I'd like read somewhere or heard from someone that the reason they got Ruud van Nistelrooy in was to probably take over the Man U role if
Contingency plan.
Ten Hag did ever go, because that experience Ruud had in the Netherlands he was a first team coach, wasn't he? He then kind of that's not the word, but downgraded. No, sorry, he was a head coach, wasn't he? And
Yeah,
he then
yeah.
downgraded to be that second hand. Um, I think could could Jack Wilshere be that potential Norwich manager that steps up when Thorpe goes? Are we doing that early bit of business now and kind of reading that and going, what, we've almost got two head coaches here in our setup, and he's then
Yeah.
getting that experience as well. I'm
It
not
would
saying it
not
will happen,
surprise me one bit if
but are we thinking
that's
long
how Ben
term? Do you know what I
Napper's
mean?
thinking. Because
Yeah,
I suppose if you're Ben Napper, right, you've got this project, you've brought in Thorpe, right? You're hoping the project goes well. You're hoping you get promoted relatively quickly, using youth-based players, right? That naturally would probably draw attention to your manager,
yeah,
like especially when we've now started to not run out of money, but we've not got parachute payments, etc. That's going to obviously bring attention to your manager. So if you're worried about potential suitors coming in for your manager a couple of years down the line, I know it's very like best case scenario that we get promoted and we perform well, then you've got to have a contingency plan there. And I think any business has that, working on best case scenario, worst case scenario. So why wouldn't you try and go and get someone that you can mold into also playing the same style of play, the knowing the club, knowing the
hmm
players, knowing the youth setup. Like it all
yeah,
seems to make sense. As you said, we're not saying that it would happen like that and it will happen like that because it may completely change. Someone may come around the corner which Norwich just couldn't say no to if Thorpe left. But I think it's a very wise move, and I imagine
100%.
because there's talks of Pilash being our manager
Yeah,
as well. There was talks of that,
hmm
and when we bought him in from Huddersfield, there's people, Huddersfield fans going, "Oh yeah, like he could definitely be a manager at some point." So
yeah,
I think it all makes logical sense, and I think that's a fair assumption, Luke, on that. But in regards to obviously before our next podcast, I think we'll probably have two games. What are your quick thoughts and predictions for Middlesbrough?
uh, so the I think there was that infamous Middlesbrough game, wasn't there, when we went up, where that guy went on a rant on that
Yeah,
um,
yeah, fan channel.
that video, and he said it was the only win we're going to get all season. I think they're still probably a little bit salty about that. So it would not surprise me one bit if our first loss on the year, dead on the year, came against Middlesbrough, and he probably does another video on it.
Yeah.
And it will probably rattle the whole Norwich fan base unbelievably. And we'll probably whip out the old, yeah, what was a playoff final score then, mate, kind of remarks. Um, but no, I think I'm not just saying this, and I know we said it before. I just don't think your prediction could be Norwich to lose at home. I,
No.
I just don't. I just can't see it happening anytime soon. We're just so bloody good, and it's difficult. Predictions are so hard. Like everyone thought Hull may potentially beat us. We absolutely thumped them. People may thought, Watford will probably beat us. We absolutely thumped them. People thought we were going to finally lose it to Leeds. We drew against them. People thought we were going to finally lose it to Sheffield United. We drew with them. At home, we always find a way to get the points. But it would not surprise me if we lose it to a team like Middlesbrough on Sunday. A game where you probably expect us to absolutely steamroll them, and then we don't, and they give us a good game, then we lose it. But I think if we just play the way that we have been playing, I think we should be fine. I think we probably should be beating them. To be fair, I don't think they'll probably bring many fans to a Sunday 3:00 kickoff game. I think that's absolutely brutal on the Championship, giving Middlesbrough fans that game. They're probably going to get back very, very late, and on a Sunday as well. That's absolutely savage. That is. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go for a 2-0 Norwich win. I think we do okay. I think it should be fine.
I'll go with a 2-1 Norwich win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my prediction.
Who's that striker they got? Is it called like Lataf Laith or something like that?
Yeah.
Do you know who I mean?
I know
He's
he
meant to
had
be
like a
quite
really
good.
good into last season, but I don't really know.
Is he injured? He might even be injured at the minute. Actually, thinking about it. On that,
No, he's playing, but he got a
I
5-point
tell you,
hit in the last game. So
I'll tell you something that I know is gonna happen, guaranteed. Johnny Howson's gonna get booed.
yeah, and he'll probably score a screamer.
He's gonna get booed, but I think fair enough. Again,
Game to
I
game,
just think
isn't
it comes down to Norwich fans being Norwich fans. Like, I think any player would do that in that situation. You've got to think of the now. You've got to do anything you can to try and get a win.
Yeah.
If he had a penalty, he's not going to miss it because he used to play for Norwich. He doesn't want them to lose, is he? It's exactly the same concept, though. He's not going to just do. He's not going to not do something because of a former club he's played for. He wants to get the win for the club that he's at now. And I'll be honest, as much as you think he's a Norwich legend, he's Middlesbrough captain and actually probably had more caps for Middlesbrough now than he ever did at Norwich. So I think it's clear to see where his probably loyalties lie. Yes, he had a good stint at us, but I think he's Mr. Middlesbrough now. And fair play to him. He done what he needed to do at Norwich, didn't he?
He's had 300 games for Middlesbrough.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's more than Norwich, right?
Oh yeah, 176 for Norwich.
Yeah, but exactly. He's had 120 more caps.
Yeah. Now
And that's a good 3 season.
I think you can still respect him, but at the end of the day, he's not a Norwich player anymore. He's not going to want us to win. We don't want him to win. That's fine.
I know. Actually, sorry. This is a service announcement. You're not allowed to boo players anymore. So if we can refrain from doing that at Carrow Road, that would be good. Against obviously former players because it's not fair on them. But don't worry, boo the referee all you like. That's fine. You can do that. Boo anyone else, but former Norwich players, you're not allowed. That's a no-no. Don't do that. Please don't do that. I don't want to see X on the back of that. Us booing Houston. Oh my God. Can you imagine that, Chris? Can you imagine that?
I'll be applauding him. I'll be standing up and clapping him. And
God, no, you're not. No, you're not allowed to boo him. That's not fair.
I'll be chanting, "We love you, Johnny." Woo.
Yeah, and no, don't please don't boo him. Please.
we left that all on the last pod, Luke. That
Sorry,
we had a
I just
very
thought about it, and it made me a little bit angry.
very
Um,
passionate discussion last time. But
yeah, no, but I think obviously his loyalties aren't probably with Norwich anymore. He done what he had to when he was here. He done a fantastic job. Um, Football's football at the end of the day, isn't it? You can do anything you can to try and get 3 points, regardless of who you're against. Um, but again, booing him because Signs got sent off last year was silly. Will
agreed.
be silly. Again, theoretically, like if you really think about it, if we just do go all the way back way when, is it Howson's fault he got sent off, or was it the referee's fault that he messed up? Probably the referee, isn't it? Like the onus
I
is
think
probably on him.
at the end of the day, as the famous saying goes, the game is the game. He's going to do anything to get Middlesbrough to win. If that means feigning a bit of an injury to get someone sent off, so be it. Our players will do it. Our players have done it, and our players will do it. And we're not going to go, well, actually, you should unsend him off so we're playing an even playing field. We're going to go result. We're playing against 10 men. This
Yeah.
football, it happens, doesn't it? But yeah, we've got a busy week this week, and I look forward to seeing what results come out of that. But before we wrap up this podcast, Luke, was there anything else from yourself, my man?
No, nothing from me. I hope you just everyone just enjoys the next coming games. I think there's definitely something starting to cook at Norwich. And I think, like we said, a loss is okay. It's not the end of the world. They happen. Draws happen as well. That is
Agreed.
just football.
That is
And that's
life.
just how it goes. That is life. And stop being so reactive about things as well, because it's as much as I'd love us to win, and I always want us to win. You know, sometimes there are just teams that outplay us on games and get the game plan right. That's football. But yeah, just word from me is enjoy the upcoming game.
Very wise words, Luke. Very wise words. And as always, if you enjoyed this podcast or you want to see more Norwich City content, make sure you subscribe down below. Make sure you leave a like as well, and comment your predictions on what you believe the games will end up this week. You can also follow us on Canaries Chat on X with two T's, to see kind of all of our opinions in the moment when the games are going on. But apart from that, I hope everyone has an enjoyable week, and we'll see you on the next episode.